Hi, this is Christine Prasad for Best Buy Canada, and today I'm going to walk you through the JS Oryza rice cooker and steamer from JS Innovations. So it's a compact rice cooker and steamer that can fit even in small kitchens, apartments, and it cooks your rice for you. So it can cook not just plain white rice, but it can also cook mixed rice as well as low sugar rice, which is an important differentiator for those who are trying to reduce their sugar intake, diabetics, etc. So you can actually cook low sugar rice in this machine. It can also cook soup and porridge as well. So the process is pretty simple for this machine. It comes with an inner pot. You add the water, you add the rice, pop the inner pot inside, close it, press the button, and that's it. So it's really simple to use. It also has a preset function, so if you want to add the rice and the water or other liquid in the machine and set it to cook up to 24 hours in advance, you can do that. And it also has a keep warm function, so that works for up to 12 hours. So you could set a batch of rice in the afternoon and have it ready for dinner time. And I actually did that myself, and when I opened the machine, it was still hot and steaming inside. You should open it shortly after just to fluff it. But then you can keep it warm for up to 12 hours, which is a really neat option. So getting into the specs of this unit, it has 350 watts of power and the capacity for up to 4 cups of rice, so that's 2 liters. So that's large enough for side dishes for a family of 2, 3, even 4. Even if you have a small gathering and you're having a little bit of rice on the side with dishes, it makes up to 4 cups, which is really good. So it comes with, again, the inner pot. There is the starch remover that you use for low sugar rice, and you put that on top of the inner pot, before you start the cook. I couldn't find low sugar rice in my local grocery store, but if that's something that you eat, then you probably know exactly where to get it, and you get it all the time. But just note that you need to add the starch remover piece at the top of the unit before the cook if you're doing low sugar rice. So I've been a rice cooker holdout all my life. I still cook rice the old school way with a pot on the stovetop, and I find that works well for me, and I didn't really ever see a need to have a rice cooker. I did actually understand the value of it once I had this machine. There's the set and forget element, so it does take half an hour to do rice. It's the same ratio, so about 2 to 1 water to rice ratio, depending on the type of rice you're using and what texture you like. So half an hour is a bit longer, so on stovetop it's about 18 minutes. But if you add the time it takes for the water to boil, as well as letting it sit for 5 minutes after the cook, it kind of evens itself out. But the real advantage here is that you just put everything in, you press the button, and then you can leave it for as long as you want. You don't need to worry about taking it off the stove and turning off the stove and all of that. So that's a really good advantage. The other advantage that I found, one day I was making dinner with a whole whack of dishes, and I had different things on the burners, and I was able to make the rice in this off to the side, and I didn't have to worry about dirtying up another pot and using up another burner for the rice when I had proteins and other things going on the stove. So once I made that meal, I said, oh, okay, now I get it. The rice cooker does make a lot of sense. So in addition to the inner pot and the machine itself and the starch remover, it also comes with a rice paddle. One thing to note is you might miss this. So I did. I actually didn't even know it was there until I looked in the instruction manual and I saw a rice paddle, and I thought, I didn't get that. So I went back to the box, and sure enough, it is taped to the side of the styrofoam packaging. So because it's white and it blends in, you might actually miss it. So make sure you go back to the box and take out the rice paddle, because it's a really handy tool to have to scoop out the rice after you make it. And it also comes with a little plastic measuring cup. So the markings on that are very faint. I would suggest if you're using that, you're just going to use it probably for a cup or 2 cup measurements, because a full cup is the actual measuring cup. If you're doing half cups, you're going to have to really squint to see the markings on the side, because they're very faint. So I made numerous types of rice. I made plain white rice. I also made seasoned rice using turmeric, cumin, butter, and bay leaves, and I was able to put everything in the pot and cook, and it came out wonderfully. I also made coconut rice, mixing half coconut milk and half water with the rice, and again, that turned out beautifully. So the rice was perfect texture every time, fluffed really nicely. But my favorite part of the whole thing is the inner pot, because the rice came out so nicely from it, and cleanup was just a quick wipe down. It was so easy. There was never anything that was stuck to the bottom. So I really, really love that. I also noticed that the machine nor the inner pot retained any of the flavor of the odors. So when you're using spices like cumin and turmeric, a lot of pots and pans can accumulate the odor of the very pungent spices. I didn't find that with this. Now, I only did it once or twice, so if you do that over time, time and time again, it may retain the odors, but I didn't notice anything at all from the times that I did it. Now, I did try oatmeal a few times, and that was a little bit more of a frustrating process. So the first time I used the recommendation in the manual, which is an 8:1 ratio of oats to water or milk. I did find that sounded a little odd to me. It seemed like a lot, and indeed I ended up with a soupy mess inside. Not only that, but some of it actually leaked out of the steam vents at the top. So I reduced it once again, and it still wasn't quite right. I reduced it again to a 2:1 ratio, and it was cooked a little bit better, but the texture was very gummy. So I still haven't been able to find the perfect ratio. So just keep that in mind. I would suggest if you're making oats or porridge that you use denser oats. I used rolled oats, and that seemed to just not work for me. So again, it could just be the ratios off, and you may have to keep trying, or again, get denser oats and go by the manual. But just keep that in mind. I probably wouldn't use this machine for oats. It also takes an hour for oats in this machine. So when you consider that you can do that for 15 to 20 minutes on the stove, or even 2 to 3 minutes in the microwave, unless you want to just throw everything in, go get ready for your day, have a shower, come down, and then have your oats ready. I don't know that I would want to have it sitting there for an hour to do. But again, if it's denser oats that don't really cook that well in the microwave, or that take longer on the stove, then you may find that this machine works well for that, as long as you get the ratio perfect. Now again, it also makes soup. I did not try that function, but keep that in mind. If you love soup, you can make soups in this. And again, it's a 2-liter pot, so up to 4 cups capacity. Now, again, it's super easy to use. So there's just the buttons on the top for rice, low sugar rice, mixed rice, soups and porridge, and then the preset and the keep warm, and there's a cooking/cancel button. You don't really need to press the cooking button when you're cooking. As long as you close it and you just press the function button that you want, it automatically starts. The timer doesn't show until 10 minutes are left, which I wish it actually showed a running countdown the entire time, especially when the shortest cook time is 30 minutes. But rest assured that if you see the lines going up and down, it's actually doing something, and when it's 10 minutes left, you'll get that warning to let you know, okay, there's 10 minutes and it's going to be done. And then you can press the cancel button once you want the keep warm function to go off. So should you get this rice cooker? If you're in the market for a rice cooker, I would certainly suggest this model. It's, again, really easy to use. It's small and compact, which I love. My favorite part is that it's super easy to clean, which makes a huge difference in the kitchen. And it's really nicely made. It's got a nice white finish. It's got the digital display in the top, and very simple to use. So you can read more about my experience with this machine in the Best Buy blog and my full review, and you can see some pictures of some of the great dishes that I made. And that's it. So this is the JS Oryza rice cooker and steamer from JS Innovations. And again, read more at the Best Buy blog. Thank you so much for watching.